in your latest article on for Bitcoin Magazine, it's called "The Intelligent Person's Guide to Bitcoin."
Yeah,
That was a great read, by the way. It was
thank you.
short but impactful, and I like that you really were able to kind of summarize a lot into a short amount. So
Thank you.
you said that one of the things you said that stood out to me was, you do not invest in Bitcoin, and I tell people to invest, and then I think about it and I think, we probably shouldn't be calling it that. You're probably right, because it's not really a typical investment. You're fleeing, as
Hmm.
you said, you're fleeing one fiat system for a completely different economy, a completely different system. So I really like that. So my next question, I guess, I don't want to say invest, but why, just overall, why do you see Bitcoin as a good decision to migrate from
Hmm.
fiat,
Yeah,
and why should we, yeah, why should we leave that system for this one, in your
yeah.
opinion?
Migrate is a great word. I think this is, I think the quote specifically in the article is, one does not invest in a superior form of money. Like, so it's like, if
Mm-hmm.
you've got Zimbabwean dollars, you don't invest in US dollars, so that you can make some money and come back and have more Zimbabwean dollars. That's fucking stupid. You get out of the bad money and you move into the good money.
Yeah.
If like when society was operating on seashells and salt and, gold came as an emergent money, you didn't invest in gold, you moved into the better money because it represents the product of your labor more accurately. So when we look at fiat money, it no longer functions as money the way it should be. So money has three primary functions. It should store the product of one's labor, so it should store value in some way. It should act as a means via which human beings can exchange the product of their value or the product of their labor. So that's the medium exchange function, and it should be a unit of account. You should be able to measure other goods, products, goods, and services with that. So if we look at fiat money, it categorically doesn't store value. Like it literally,
Yep.
the value erodes day on day, week on week, month on month, year on year. Like there's a great meme about like, you know, the Big Mac back in the 70s or 80s, whatever it was, or the 70s, I think it is, cost 65 cents. Now Big Mac is like $6. So your money has lost 90% of its fucking value. Like that doesn't make any sense, but we've sort of been normalized to believe that that makes sense. So fiat money doesn't store value anymore, at least not very well. Um, it still can be used as a medium of exchange, and it is the primary unit of account. So those two things are really tied. But the medium of exchange function is slowly by slowly being constricted because for me to transact with someone to buy something that I might want, I need to jump a million hoops. Now, in some places, it's a little bit easier. In some places, you can Venmo someone something, but go write a memo on the Venmo like weed or something. You'll see how well the medium exchange works, right? So, like, the exchange doesn't actually occur. So, if but where Bitcoin transcends all of this stuff is Bitcoin doesn't recognize time or place or individual or message or reason or purpose or any of that. Like, it is pure medium of exchange technology. You know, whoever signs a transaction can move UTXOs to any other location, irrespective of what anyone thinks, for what it's for, what time it is, why, or anything. That's like pure 10 out of 10 perfect medium of exchange. And that exists today with Bitcoin. The reason, though, it's not used as a primary medium of exchange at the moment is because Bitcoin is still emergent. You would be crazy to go and use your Bitcoin as a primary means of payment today because each time you pay with Bitcoin, a year or two later, you want to punch yourself in the face because you just paid
Yep.
10x what it actually cost you. So, um, in that sense, that there's the perfect functionality exists, but that is not the primary use case today. So, and then thirdly is the unit of account component. So, a good unit of account, needs to be very divisible, needs to be able to measure other goods and services. So it's got to have these attributes. It needs to be fungible, blah 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 blah. So as Bitcoin matures and as its liquidity deepens and as all of that sort of occurs, the the volatility will taper off, and what you end up is in a situation where we can measure other goods and services in Bitcoin, and we won't measure it in Bitcoin. We'll measure it in Sats. You know, a bottle of water will cost 20 Sats or whatever. You know, at some point 2 Sats. So that transformation, as we emerge into that, and you know, people sort of think of things as like sort of step functions. We go from one to another, and that's not how complex systems evolve. You know, they emerge. So it's a transition. It happens over time, and you know, Bitcoin is primed to be a perfect unit of account as well. And that there's probably some other elements there in terms of unit of account. Like, we know how much Bitcoin there is in total, so as a result, we'll be able to better account for everything else as well. We'll be able to better value all other products, goods, services, and everything else that's around us. So anyway, if Bitcoin performs these functions perfectly, it is because it has all of the attributes of money. It embodies all of the attributes of money perfectly also. So those two things combined mean that Bitcoin is a superior form of money. Now, you as an individual need to make a choice. Do you want to hold inferior money? So do you want to trade your finite resources, your time, your labor, your energy, you know, your fucking natural resources that you mix your labor with? Do you want to trade that for the equivalent of seashells, or you know, the equivalent of gold? Like, so this really is an individual preference, and you by all means can continue to trade your precious time for fucking shitty toilet paper printed by a few bureaucrats. Like, by all means, go for it. Or you can choose to trade it for the most superior, incorruptible form of energy money that has ever existed, that cannot be corrupted, that cannot be taken from you, that you cannot be told what to do with, that you know your proportion to the whole. And as a result, as the productive capacity of humanity continues to rise, your purchasing power will also continue to rise. Like, when I look at those two as a comparison, I'm like, you actually have to be stupid or ignorant, or an imbecile of some form not to be measuring your net worth in Bitcoin. So that's why, like, the migration into Bitcoin is like literally, it's practically an intelligence test, or it's Darwinism in action. You know, anyone who knows about Bitcoin but doesn't move into it is at this point stupid. There's enough content there to figure it out. So,
yeah, I like your reference to seashells, fiat being seashells, and Bitcoin being, you know, a superior form of gold, because you know the amount of printing that's been going on lately is pretty absurd. The money supply has increased, you know, anywhere between 30-40%. In the last year in terms of US dollars, and it's crazy that they mask it with these measurements like CPI, which is a complete scam in my opinion, because it makes people think they're, you know, that the money, it makes them think that they're losing about 2% a year. You know, it's not bad. 2 to 5%. Okay, I can deal with that. But you look at the money supply, and you know, by the way, we don't even know that the money supply is truth, right? We're trusting that the numbers they're telling us is correct, because the supply isn't audible. But yeah, there's a lot of problems with fiat for sure, and you know, the first aspect of a money is to be a store of value, like you were saying, and fiat has definitely failed in that. I agree.